English language overrated?
Yes, English language is overrated. In fact, I've been looking for an opportunity to have this discussion. We had been doing this long before your mother was giving birth to. Then you don't have a genuine reason for doing that, just because it's been long. That is not enough a reason.
Mr. Lawrence, this table that you want to break, I mean, I'm not part of this table. I wasn't there.
It's just been
I'm
realistic.
just asking questions that my director asked me to ask. They said a teacher teaches one person and he or she ends up teaching a nation. This is another episode of Teacher Spotlight Show with Oyindalara. And today I have an amazing teacher, up-and-coming actor, a public speaker, an up-and-coming debate panelist, and is also an education officer under the Lagos State Teaching Service Commission. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the distinct honor to bring to you Mr. Abolaji Olushola Lawrence.
Thank you so very much for having me.
My learned colleague, thank you for accepting our invitation to come on this program, Teacher Spotlight Show. Before I continue, what came through your mind when you actually saw our invite? Like, what is Teacher Spotlight Show?
What came through my mind was, do I really have anything to say? Like, or why me? Do I really have any profile to share? You know, that's just what came through my mind, actually.
The fact that you came highly recommended. One thing about the show is every teacher you see on the show came highly recommended.
Wow.
And for you to have been highly recommended, it means you're actually doing well in your field. One word to describe the kind of teacher you are?
Oh, principled. Principled in the sense that I don't compromise my standards,
Okay.
both to my superior or my
That is
students.
why you were highly recommended. Because teachers on the show, they don't try to call black blue.
No,
Look at this thing.
Lawrence wouldn't
This thing
do
looks
that.
like blue from afar.
No. Some time ago, one of the teachers described me as recalcitrant. I said, yes, you said I am recalcitrant because you don't understand me. If you really do understand me, you know that recalcitrant is not the word. It's just standard. I'm trying to, live by it. So it's not recalcitrant. In this life, the major thing that I live by is interest. Your interest comes first. So at times, some persons are trying to persuade you to do what you do not actually really have interest in. So what happens? You disobey them. They say you are recalcitrant. Because they cannot convince you to do what they
Please don't drag my gas on this show.
I don't mention anybody's name.
Agree to that.
Yeah, I'm scared.
So, what is your opinion about the old and the new generation of teachers?
Okay, my opinion is that I really respect the whole generation because they are not empty. Trust me, they are really fully packaged. They are loaded. Also, the new generation is just that. The question you asked me reminds me of one of these Sierra Leonean poets, Elizabeth Kamara, New Tongue, one of the newly recommended texts for literature, 2020 to 2030. There is this dispute or rivalry between the old and new generation because of lack of concord. They do not understand each other. The old thinks that the new is coming to overthrow the already beat down tenants. Meanwhile, the new things the old are also obsolete or old-fashioned. So what I think about is that the two generations are actually equally important. It's just that one needs to understand the other so that they can blend and harmonize to achieve a common goal.
Do you think the old generation of teachers understand the new generation?
That is the basis of our issues, which I don't want to call problem or challenge. Some of these old generation teachers don't want to give in. They don't want to learn new things. Remember in education, we have learning, unlearning, and relearning. So there are some things they actually need to unlearn. They don't want
so they can relearn.
So that mindset really has to be changed. That's just it. The whole generation of teachers, for instance, if they try to bring us closer and then they explain things, I believe in using dialogue for conflict or dispute resolution.
Resolution.
So if they tell me reason I have to do what they want me to do, and I see that the reason is a good one, why not? I'll follow it. But when you try to say we had been doing this long before your mother was giving birth to, then you don't have a genuine reason for doing that just
You're
because
just
it's been long. That is not enough a reason.
Mr. Lawrence, this table that you want to break. I mean, I'm not part of this table. I wasn't there.
It's just been
I'm
realistic.
just asking questions that my director asked me to ask. Is Mr. Lawrence, so I'm not there. Oh, I'm not there. How do you handle a class that isn't going as planned?
Okay. Let's talk about, for instance, student trying to disrupt my class with their
Let's
noises.
say you've gotten to the class.
Okay.
You're trying to teach phrases and clauses.
Hmm.
You get to the class. Okay, give me example of a phrase. And somebody will just stand up and say something totally different from what you expect them to do. Now, if you're teaching phrases and clauses, you know you should have a basic knowledge of
Part
the
of speech.
eight part of speech.
Definitely.
Like
Anything you want to do in English
anything you want
language.
to do.
It is the foundation.
That's the foundation. If somebody does not even know a noun, difference between a noun.
So how do you know noun phrase?
And so how do you not know noun phrase? So if you cannot, and you just start getting some answers that you know that there's no way I can teach this topic.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I do remind my students that the fundamental part of anything you want to do in English is a part of speech. You know it, you know everything in English if you want to. So I compare the part of speech to cement, water, gravel, blocks, and everything that a constructor uses for a building. You want to erect an edifice now, you need them, and you have to know how to use them. So if a class is not going in my direction of plan, I quickly remind them of this part of speech which you've mentioned. And of course, in a class, we still have some of these students that do not forget everything totally. Oh, Tenny, remind us what a noun is. Okay, Tenny has just mentioned what a noun is. Can you now remember everybody? Good. What a noun does is what a noun phrase does, for instance. So it's just a matter of going back to their previous knowledge, or which we call entry behavior, right? So when we quickly switch to that in 2 or 1 minute, it will help me to lay a foundation on the new topic. So I go back to a related topic they probably have been taught in the past. That's how I use it. Just like in literature now, you know, we have foreshadowing and flashback. So let's call it the flashback. Let's quickly remember what you learned last related to this topic. And we'll be on that.
What's the hardest topic you have ever taught or you've ever had to teach?
In English or in literature?
Both.
Hardest topic.
It could be you have ever taught, had to teach, or you don't like teaching.
Okay. Oh, do I really have one? For me, I like all topics in English. It's just that asking me to, okay, let me take it like this. Teaching summary to students, especially a very large class, is very challenging. Because when you ask a student in one sentence rather, or in 2 sentences, one for each, summarize. I quickly had to correct myself. In 2 sentences, one for each, summarize the problems of a poor man. And then my students start writing half of a page.
Or they will lift the whole part.
Mr. Lawrence, is that we should summarize? So it's very challenging telling them that to summarize does not mean to narrate. There is a difference between narration and summary. In fact, they're not even in the same category in the WAEC examination. So I have to tell them the summary is said to be in 1 sentence or in 2 sentences, one for each. Then I quickly have to tell them what a paragraph is. Imagine a student will tell you a paragraph is the space you leave before you start writing. I tell them, no, it's not like that. I once asked, he said, what's a paragraph? He said, when you try to, no, not like that. So I would quickly remind them that a paragraph is a group of sentences that expresses an idea. Now, a sentence is a group of words that expresses a complete thought. So your summary is meant to be in a sentence, one answer, and not a paragraph.
Is English language overrated?
Yes, English language is overrated. In fact, I've been looking for an opportunity to have this discussion. Our languages, you're a linguist, I'm a linguist. No language is superior to the other.
Mr. Lawrence, hold on.
I have a lot to say.
Hold
Let
on.
me answer this question. It's middle.
Please,
English language is overrated. Let me give you my 1 million and reason.
Don't let me catch you. How can you be an English teacher and you be saying English language?
I am not an English man. I'm a Yoruba man. I'm an English teacher. Man, you were taught, I was taught that no language is superior to the other.
I don't know. Who told you we're taught? We're in the same class together.
You were my senior in the uni. But
No,
the same
what if
lecturer
it was not the
taught us.
teacher that
Let me
the
answer
lecturer
that
taught
question.
you?
Let me answer that question. At least a reason that English language is overrated.
Mr. Lawrence, I'm surprised that you're saying this.
Most of the time when I speak, people don't even know or cannot even guess I can speak English. I speak my language very well.
Wow.
At times when I have to speak, I was a little that I understand. I try. And of course, some persons say, hey, you don't even understand. You know if you speak English. Speak English. Then I wonder, you know if you speak English. That language you used or that particular medium of, is that English you're asking me to speak? You yourself cannot speak. Say, you know if you speak English. And then when people, see, one thing we have to get clear first is that a language is not a medium of judging one's intellect. So why do people judge people's intelligence or knowledge or level of understanding or intellect by the language they speak, especially the English language? The first reason is overrated.
Hey.
In this Nigeria, if you cannot speak English, then people look down on you. It's bad. I speak my language. I learn to speak other person's languages. And of course, the same way I elevate English, if I have to, I do the same to my language and to your language. So that is what makes me a linguist, not ability to speak English. Ability to appreciate languages and use them when they are supposed to be. You know, I stay around Papa Ajigule. At times, you may have to go to Boundary Market to get something. Do I go there to speak English? I have to speak Ido. I have to speak Hausa. I have to speak Pidgin. If I know how to speak, I have to speak Yoruba. So I have to attend to everybody according to their, you know, their linguistic understanding. So it is not all about English. English language is overrated. We should look into this. It's the language of politics, education, media, academic. Yes, we say it's a lingua franca. We use it because of unity and every other thing. In Nigeria today, a lot of persons speak Hausa even when they are not. A lot of persons speak Yoruba even when they are not. So this issue of national language, you probably, of course, know about, is what the government should look into, and then we should, if possible, we should demote English language. Yes, in Nigeria. If you demote English language, let me tell you, see, our own languages will be appreciated abroad, and then Nigeria or even Africa will be, you know, will be well celebrated. Yes, we turn English to a celebrity language.
I have a different opinion.
Okay.
Let's go to the part of examination. In English language, you are being judged. In English language examination, you have comprehension, you have summary, you have a test of orals, you have composition.
Yeah, of course.
What other one? You have vocabulary development.
Yes, idioms, phrasal verbs, and all
so
that.
you're telling me that as a student, you don't have a basic knowledge of all of this. Let's say in these 5 areas, you don't have basic knowledge of all of this.
Okay.
You cannot write a simple composition or, let's say, essay to the director of a company you are trying to apply to, or even your father, your mother, or your sibling, or even your village head. You cannot write a basic essay to them.
Let's start your question first from the perspective of socio-linguistics.
Okay.
I'm interested in socio-linguistics. Maybe I should have answered, I should have channeled the question, my answer to the student. Okay, I'm talking about how the English language is used in the society.
Okay, I'm talking about
that's social. That's what I didn't know you narrowed it to education. Narrowing to education, English is not overrated. It's just that teachers of English at time, or even teachers generally, have to come to the consciousness of the fact that students are learning English. They do not acquire English. And so they may not have the right choice of phrase all the time. They may not have the right pronunciation all the time. They have to take steps to understand it. I'm a WAEC examiner, I'm a NECWE examiner. One of the problems is comprehension, but the main challenge is writing. Remember, we judge our essay based on the content, organization, expression, and mechanical accuracy. So the main problem starts with mechanical accuracy. Now, saying English is overrated as far as education is concerned. No, it is not. I thought you were talking about the society. Yes, it is. Are you getting it now?
Society, yes.
Now, in education, English is not overrated because it is the language of education and academics. So, if you do not understand it or you are not willing to get it right there, then you are not ready for education in this part of Africa.
Of the world.
Because in some other places, English is not their medium of instruction. Even in some society, for instance, we have these celebrity footballers that do not understand English. That one does not mean they are not knowledgeable. That's why I was trying to say the other time that the language should not be used to judge one's intellect. It's possible I don't understand English and I'm knowledgeable. I have some senses in me. When I speak, help me interpret it into the language of your choice. So, talking about education, no, English is not overrated. For the society, overrated.
So would you actually, if you are in a position where you have to write a petition that one of Nigeria's most used language should be used as lingua franca or language of communication in the country, would you actually do that?
Okay, yes. Like to recommend the language of...
So which of the languages, out of the three, would you recommend as the lingua franca?
Of the three, if I would not be biased, as far as Nigeria is concerned today, I will recommend Hausa. I recommend Hausa because of the population of people that speak it. And it's the language of politics in this country, Nigeria. It's the language of politics. We only call it English. If you go to the north, they don't use English the way we do it. And they are succeeding politically.
It's actually the northerners that are the politicians in this country.
Thank you. And then they have Hausa. So it's the language of... How about military? How about military then? So I will recommend Hausa for our... Personally, Hausa.
If you have to talk about the population of people that speak this language, Hausa should be. All right, now we have come to the end of this episode, but before we go, because you're an English teacher, you're going to pronounce some words. IZZA pronounced as
pizza. Pizza.
WRITTEN.
WR.
Yes.
Hi.
TTEN.
Written.
SING.
Sign.
SING.
SING. Not SIGN. SING. Sorry. Sing.
INTEREST.
Come down.
INTEREST.
Interest. Right? Is that what you mean? Interest.
If you say so.
Interest.
FOOTBALL.
Football. I go for football.
You cannot remove the T. It's football.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Even in fast pitch?
Well, you shouldn't use fast pitch.
Even in fast pitch?
Hello?
Maybe in isolation, I can't remove it.
Mr. Lawrence is an Ojoro.
I know now. We're together.
Recommend the teacher in the comment section. Lastly, please subscribe to this channel. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this episode. Leave a comment.
Please subscribe to Oyin Dalara.
Please subscribe.
Definitely.
Just click on that subscribe button. You know it will not take anything to subscribe.